Thinking about leaving your soul-sucking 9 to 5 job, one of the biggest struggles I see people, especially as women, face is the idea of having that safety net, that enticing perks and benefits, and listening to that head trash of what will people think if I leave. I totally get it, and I've been where you are. That's why I created a free guide to help you if you're thinking about putting in that notice. It's called Unlocking Your Exit Plan. Discover 5 things you need to do before leaving your 9 to 5. This guide is filled with worksheets and steps so you will have hand holding along the way. You can download your copy in the link in the show notes, and again, it's totally free. Now back to today's episode. Hey there, let's face it. Today's internet world is so saturated and everyone is fighting for that number one spot to be visible. It is no longer about running ads and having thousands of people on your email list. It is about building relationships and networking with others to grow your business and become visible. Hi, my name is Candace. I'm a podcast launch strategist and I help service-based business owners develop and deliver their message to the world by using platforms like podcasting and bringing valuable content to those who need to hear what they have to say. Welcome to the Hello CS Dorsey podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Hello CS Dorsey podcast. I have Andrea Paz from Andrea Paz Public Relations. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So could you tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Certainly. I am a publicist. So Andrea Paz Public Relations is all about creating PR campaigns in order to increase brand awareness, grow a reputation, and ultimately drive sales. So what I often say to people is, have you Googled yourself? Have you Googled your company or your product or your book? And are you in the news? Meaning, is the press writing about you versus something that you put out there, you advertised, or you put on your social media? So if a third party is talking about you and you're getting press coverage, that builds trust and drives awareness. If you're not out there doing it and your competitor is out there doing public relations, well, that's a problem because they're getting the press coverage and you're not. So I create and implement public relations campaigns in a wide range of categories all over the country. So I'm a PI, a private investigator in public relations. So I'm a PI in PR, finding media outlets and connecting your business to those media outlets to get you press coverage.
Oh, that sounds awesome. And to answer your question earlier, no, I have not Googled myself.
So I know after this interview, you are going to Google yourself and to see who's talking about you. And if they're not talking about you, why not? And then hopefully you'll call me later and say, Andrea, I need you to be my publicist, and the rest will be history.
That sounds awesome. So let's talk about the inspiration behind you starting your business. What was that like for you?
So it's very interesting. I've been in the public relations business for over 30 years. I like to think of myself as a youngster, but I'm certainly very experienced. And I've been working, starting at the CBS radio division in New York City years ago in PR, and then moving over to the agency side of public relations. And I've worked for PR firms for all of these years. And many times my clients said, Andrea, go out on your own. You should do your own thing. And I just wasn't ready. And a little over 2 years ago, the situation presented itself and it was time. So one door closed and a door opened for me to create and start Andrea Paz Public Relations. And within 5 days, I had my first client, and it's been wonderful ever since. So I love being a solopreneur. And really this inspiration was part forced, part planned, and it's all worked out for the best for me. So I'm very excited about having my own firm.
That's really exciting. Yes, I'm loving the solopreneur as well.
Yeah, it's what's so interesting about being a solopreneur, especially if you're someone who has worked in an office, whether a corporate environment, a medium or a small-sized business, and you're working with other people. And I love people. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. I love working with other people, but when you're working with people that don't take the position as seriously as you do, and people who look at it as a job rather than a career, things don't happen. And I found it at firms I was securing press coverage, but reporting into an account executive to make sure their client was available for an interview Wednesday at 5 or Thursday at 10. And the account executive wouldn't get back to me. And they'd say, but I sent an email. And I just was shaking my head saying, pick up the phone, call their assistant, have them page, because the client is paying us to secure press coverage. And I was losing important press coverage because I had to wait for someone else because I wasn't in touch with all of the clients. As the VP of Media Relations, I was the one in touch with all of the press. So now, as Andrea passed Public Relations, I can do it all. I have press interested, I pick up the phone, or I email my client directly. If I can't reach them, I find another way to do so. I text them, I'll put a message on LinkedIn. I have never lost an interview since I started my own business because I couldn't reach a client. And so it's wonderful to be able to be on my own and tick off all the boxes and, bottom line, get the job done.
I agree with you 100%. And I'm currently a supervisor right now, but I'm stuck in this frame or this mentality that, hey, I'll just get it done myself. And I know that's not good. I'm supposed to delegate and I'm supposed to, give the work out to an assigned work, but I'm like, I know it's done because I did it. And I'm like, I need to get out of that mode, but it's just something, I guess maybe that is a solopreneur in me that's coming out,
And you really hit the nail on the head because you work in an environment that you have to delegate. But if you are finding that the people that you are delegating to are not completing the tasks in a timely manner, in a complete manner, in a top tier manner, then there's a problem with employees or the direction that they're given or what have you. And then you sort of question those employees because maybe they're not the right people if you feel you could do it better yourself. And I think there comes a point, and I think for me, having been in the business for such a long time, it was that point to take the next step and become a solopreneur and start Andrea Pass Public Relations and service my clients in the way that I want to service them, in the way they want to be serviced, accept clients, turn down clients, and at the end of the day, smile and be happy and know that I had a great day, and then I can have my private time and get a little sleep and the next day start all over again. So solopreneurship is wonderful. Raw solopreneurship.
Yeah. So can you remember a time in your business starting out when you had a hello moment?
That's a fabulous, fabulous question, because when I started out and suddenly I was getting clients quickly because people know me. So either former clients came to sign on or referred me to other clients or referred me to people they know. And so I knew it was all going well. And one day, someone who I had known from my college radio station connected me with her boss. And we talked on the phone about his business, and we decided to meet for lunch. And we met for lunch, and he started calling me Ann. My name is Andrea. I'm not Ann. I've never been Ann. I'm Andrea. That's my name. And I think that I would never think to call someone something that they're not. I said to you, what should I call you? You said Candace. So I'm calling you Candace, and I'm not calling you Candy. I'm calling you by the name that you told me to call you by. So this gentleman during this lunch was calling me Ann, and it was fingernails on a chalkboard. And he had a product that he had sent to me, and I questioned something in the product. And he said, no, that's not in the product. And I said, no, that was in my box of items. That shouldn't have been in the box. I said, well, it's also on the pamphlet with the products. I was very confused about this particular product line. And he says, well, I'm ready to sign on. Send me the letter of agreement. We had agreed on an amount. And I sent the letter of agreement. The next day, he calls me up and he says, it doesn't fit in his budget. And I'm thinking, really? We had a whole talk about this. So I was thrilled to pieces. But a few months later, he calls me. I'm ready to hire you. And he lowballs me. and he wanted me to piggyback his business on other people's business. And I said, no, that's not the way I work. I am reputable. Your account is your account. I don't do your account on top of someone else's account that they're paying for the work and you piggyback it. I said, this isn't the way that I do business. I wish you the best of luck, but it appears as if you and I will not be working together. And I got off the phone and I had that aha moment. I was so happy because I stood my ground and I maintained my reputation. And I didn't feel that I lowered my standards, and I didn't take on his little account, even though it's always nice to have money. But I think the aha moment is keep to your standards and you will grow and you will succeed and you'll find a way for it to work. And that was at the very beginning of my agency. And I'm proud that Andrea Past Public Relations has been thriving, even in our crazy COVID times.
That's awesome. And I love it when you said keep to your standards, because oftentimes we lower our standards just to, especially when we start now, we lower our standards. We have our prices XYZ, and then, well, no, could you lower it? And you know, some people out there, they would do that just to gain that client, just to gain that experience. And they're thinking, well, I'm just starting off. Maybe I should just go ahead and lower it a little bit. But no, you don't do that, because it's like you have your pricing, you stick to it, and you stand firm on it. And people will respect you for that. You know, I had a hello moment as well. Of course, we're not talking about me, but people will respect you for it.
And I think that and it is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say that it's not challenging, especially in our current times, because companies don't have the funds that they might have had before. And so many people say, oh, but they had a marketing budget for the year. But yeah, they're not getting the income that they might have projected for the year to support that marketing budget. And public relations will fit under that marketing category. So yes, I will be flexible, but I won't get to the point that in the end, I would make more money bagging groceries at the local supermarket. And I won't take on an account that I know will be tremendous amount of time to produce quality public relations placements for the client for a budget that will be so minimal that I'll be stressed out. And if I'm stressed out, I'm not doing the best job I can do. So I do everything to make sure that the client is happy at the end. Hopefully there's no end, but at the end of a project or an agreement, the client says, I really liked working with Andrea Pass. She was honest, she was reputable, she told it like it is, she set expectations, and she got the public relations job done.
I love it. I love it. So you stated that PR is often most misunderstood of the communications category. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Oh my goodness gracious. Public relations is so misunderstood. It took a while for even my parents to stop saying your advertising job. No, I'm not in advertising. And I think that because advertising is tangible, you design an ad, you pick the words, you design the artwork or photography or what have you, and you know it'll appear in the newspaper or magazine or on a website or on TV a certain day and time. And it's a tangible. Public relations is not a tangible. Any public relations person who tells you or guarantees you that your business will have coverage in whatever newspaper, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, or on the Today Show, or Wendy Williams, or in a certain blog or trade publication, we cannot guarantee editorial coverage. There is that separation between advertising and editorial. So we will take your story and lead it to the right journalists and hopefully secure that interest in a product review if you have a consumer product, or an interview if you have a service-based company, and we will facilitate that coverage. And then when the coverage happens, we provide it to you. So the tangible happens at the end. That's the icing on the cake, but all the work that has to lead up to that, and that's where public relations is misunderstood. Advertising guarantees you eyeballs or ears, but public relations guarantees you building trust, building an audience, and building that growth. So public relations is often misunderstood because people might think about, oh, someone who's a publicist for a celebrity and they're walking the red carpet with them or having parties and bringing the photographers over. And yes, that's one aspect of public relations. But for the most part, the majority of us are working with small and medium-sized companies. We're working with entrepreneurs. We're working with at-home inventors who created consumer products, or health and wellness coaches, or book authors. So we are getting the message out there without spending advertising dollars. Public relations will cost you, the business, less than advertising will, because in advertising, not only are you paying for your advertising agency, you're paying for that airtime on television or online, or you're paying for that print reproduction and that amount of money. And how much does it cost to run a 4-color ad on the back page of whatever magazine? So it's going to cost you a lot more to advertise, and may or may not prove to be as successful, but public relations is going to cost you a lot less, and it's going to build your reputation, keep you relevant, keep you, your business, your service, your product, your book in the news, so that there are stories or interviews coming out on a regular basis, so you are top of mind in a consumer or a buyer's eyes.
I love it. Thank you so much for clarifying that, because I didn't know myself. So I think that was really, I think you covered it very well. And to build relationships and to stay top of mind. I love it so much.
and I think that that's the thing, to stay relevant and to be a topic in the news. And if you don't hear about something, you forget about it.
That's true.
And we're so inundated with media, whether we're on social media and we're scrolling all the time, or we're watching traditional television or reading an old-fashioned magazine in our hands. We have so much media, or listening to a podcast. We have so much media coming at us all the time, but if you're not in it, you're not going to win it. So you have to stay on top of this in order for your business to be included, because you step down, you stop doing it, well, your competitor is going to be right there snatching up that press opportunity that could have been yours.
If you're not in it, you're not going to win it. I love it. So awesome.
I know sometimes they get a little hokey because it's so cliche, you've got to be in it to win it, but it's the truth. In anything that we do, whether it's in our personal lives or in our business lives, if we don't make that extra effort, then we're going to lose something. And I joke, and I know another cliche, FOMO. I had this fear of missing out. If I don't go to a networking call, maybe that'll be the call that I would have met somebody that would become a client or introduce me to a prospective client. So I think that that's the way you should think about public relations. You should have FOMO if you don't have PR, because then, yes, you're missing out.
I love it. Yeah, I get the same thing too. Like, I'm like, oh, should I go to, and now everything is virtual. So I'm like, oh, should I go to that virtual event? But what if I meet someone, might be my ideal client, or, maybe I can have someone on my podcast. So yeah, I get FOMO too.
Yeah. And I have to say, through this whole COVID pandemic, networking and being on Zoom and meeting new people from across the country. I'm from New Jersey, you're from California. Mm-hmm. You and I would never have met had we not met through a networking group on, I think it was on Facebook. And we're always meeting new people. And I'm hoping that now that we've met, our relationship will continue. And I would look forward to providing you with future guests for your podcast and to help you out moving forward. That's what relationships are all about.
Exactly. And I teach that. I teach that all the time when I have my on my solo cast. I call it solo cast. I talk about that all the time when I don't have any guests and it's just me doing my podcast episodes. It's all about building relationships. That is the I won't say the new thing. It's old way, but we're so used to like Facebook ads and lead generation. We're so used to that, but people remember people when it's a personal connection. and you stay top of mind. Like you mentioned earlier, you stay top of mind. And when you build that relationship and build that trust, then when they're going out and they're meeting other people, oh, I know Candace, she does X, Y, Z. Or, I have somebody that does PR. Let me give you your contact and give her contact information, or, different things like that. And that's where, when you building your business, that's where it comes in at, and building your clientele. It's Facebook ads and all that. I'm not knocking it, but it's not people oriented,
and exactly, that's why it's part of your marketing mix, but it's not the end all be all of your marketing mix. And public relations is going to make you human, make your product accessible, or your service or your book or whatever. And if you're not in those stories, and there's going to be a story or a TV segment or a podcast interview or a product review opportunity, and you're not in it, then you're not going to be relevant. And so have a mix of everything realistically, but build those relationships. And because of certain relationships I have with press people, they're going to listen to my pitch before some random person's pitch. They're going to open my emails, whereas they might not open someone else's emails. So it's part of that relationship building. And the other thing is I love picking up the telephone. And I think that, talking to someone like you and I are doing right now, but getting to know somebody and have that conversation, and then you find you have these things in common, or you find just interesting little tidbits about a person by building the relationship. And I think that by growing those relationships, I've been able to grow Andrea Pass Public Relations. So it's exciting, and the future is exciting too.
Yes. Awesome. So any last minute advice you have for our listeners out there?
My advice is going back to the first thing I said: Google yourself or your business or your product, and Google your competitors. That's going to be the start to determine, well, I need to do public relations. And then research. Don't just listen to a public relations person that is going to tell you that they're going to secure 15 interviews or placements per month, and you're not going to have to put your hand in your pocket for anything else. And it's not realistic. So you want to deal with someone who you have that click with, and that person who's being honest in setting expectations. I have a prospective client that's making an announcement soon. Well, they haven't hired a PR person, and they think that their announcement is going to be, picked up by everybody. Well, you're getting closer and closer to the presidential election. There's going to be less news to be had for a while. And so be realistic in it. Maybe you should be waiting for your announcement until after the election is finalized. I can't even say after election day, because we know the election will not be finalized on election day. So these are all important things for you to consider. If you're talking about a gift for holiday season, well, you've missed all the deadlines for the glossy magazines. You might be able to get into their online versions, but the glossy magazines, that's done. You've missed that opportunity. So that has to be done way in advance. So someone should be telling the truth. Work with a PR person that is going to talk to you, tell you the truth. I met with an inventor the other day who has a new product, and he doesn't have a patent for his product. And I asked him questions about his product, and he put up a video. We had a fitness expert that he's friends with do the video. The video was very amateurish, no disrespect. But if someone is seriously going to purchase something, they're not going to purchase it from this particular spokesperson. It came across very unprofessional, and the product wasn't clearly explained on the site, and it was confusing. And I asked questions. He said, well, I didn't look at it that way. I said, well, you need to talk to other people first before you roll out your product, because I'm being honest with you. I have questions. Other people might not be honest with you. And I think you need someone who's going to be honest to tell you, what you need. So when it comes to public relations, do your homework. If the topic interests you and you'd like to learn more about me, visit AndreaPassPR.com. And you can find me on Facebook, Andrea Pass Public Relations. And you can find me on LinkedIn, Andrea Pass. So, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm everywhere. But my website will give you some overview of who I am, and feel free to reach out to me and schedule a time to speak, because if you need to learn more, I'm here to educate you.
Love it. Thank you so much. Awesome. So we're going to actually have those links in the show notes, so everyone can just, all they have to do is just click and it goes directly to you. So we'll have that available for everyone. Well, I thank you so much for being on the show today. I learned so much, and I thank you so much for clarifying the differences in PR and the misconceptions, misunderstandings about PR in general, because a lot of people are like, well, I need a PR person. And, the first thing you think about is like advertising and different things like that. Cause I was guilty too. I was guilty of it as well.
One of the things is, it's always great to learn something new every day. And so if you're something new today is learning more about what public relations is and how your business can benefit from it, then I've ticked off that box for you learning something new today. And I think that we all benefit from learning something new each day. So it's going to help us personally. It's going to help our businesses. So I'm always up to learning something new and doing something new every single day, because why not? Why not? It helps to expand who we are.
Why not, right?
Exactly.
Hey, did you like this episode? Don't forget to subscribe and share. And also drop me a line or two. I will love to hear your feedback in the review. Thank you.